Deion Sanders' ex-wife Pilar throws ugliest shade at son Shiloh after side-eye. To Coach Prime went viral. The Sanders party over NFL draft weekend looked kinda bleak. Did it serve its purpose? Quite the contrary, actually. What was supposed to be a celebration of Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders' ascension to the big league became a breeding ground for controversy and despair. That TV screen, where they saw 143 names called before Shedeur, became a proverbial mirror for Deion Sanders to self-reflect. Alas, by the time day 3 rolled about and the party had become more of a Twitch live stream, there were a couple of moments that alleviated the stress. Courtesy of Shiloh, who really came out of that entire ordeal, changing his somewhat smeared image within the masses. Shedeur Sanders kept inexplicably sliding down the pecking order. Older brother Shiloh was a pillar of support, making jokes on his own expense to ease the tension reverberating across the room and through Shedeur. By the time Shedeur finally got drafted, it was just the Sanders clan beside him to celebrate. Sans any pageantry or flash, which was ironically a full-circle moment. As the family came to terms with the reality of what had transpired, everybody let a little more loose. Especially Shiloh, who went undrafted somewhat expectantly, but did sign as a UFA. However, the euphoria of being an NFL player may have caused him to let a little too loose at one point. A moment of weakness, a lapse of judgment. Shiloh Sanders flew a little too close to the sun and made a joke at Mom Pilar's expense. This happened while he was live streaming. With eyes on them, Pilar sure couldn't express her full wrath, even if she wanted to. But she did make a subtle, harmless remark about Shiloh, which actually doubled as a sly dig on her ex-husband Deion Sanders, too. In a clip that has surfaced on IG, Shiloh is seen singing and dancing along to Deion Sanders' 1994 record, Must Be the Money. You can imagine the sort of mood Shiloh was in to do that. For the uninitiated, Deion Sanders has a hook step in the music video. Shiloh was mimicking exactly that when he trolled Pilar unprovoked. The lyrics go, "These women fall in love. Must be the money that happened to you," he said, grinning ear to ear and staring right down the barrel of the camera. Sheesh. Shiloh knew what he was doing. But to have the courage to say that to your divorced mom is something. Pilar largely took the high road to avoid ruining the good mood her son was in or spawning much controversy on stream. But she did slide in a little something. "That's the ugliest dance ever," she remarked. Of course, referring to Deion Sanders' aforementioned hook step. Talk about killing two birds with one stone. Not only did Pilar troll Shiloh's rendition of the dance, but she inadvertently trolled the dance itself. Whether she meant to fire exclusively at Shiloh, exclusively at Deion, or indeed both remains up for conjecture, ambiguous. Actually, ambiguity was a bit of a theme for the weekend for Pilar. In a different instance, she gave a side eye to one of Shiloh's comments. This sent social media into a frenzy as to what it meant. Deion Sanders' ex-wife Pilar with an ambiguous side eye right after Shiloh Sanders' bombshell revelation. Shiloh Sanders dropped a massive announcement on his Twitch stream right at the top of day 3 of the NFL draft. "Dad was our agent, but that hasn't been working out too good. So today, I had to sign with an agent. We're gonna see what happens," he said, as the room, including the still undrafted Shedeur Sanders, burst into a collective laughter. Not Pilar, though. Instead of joining in on the banter, Pilar was seen on camera visibly pulling a side eye. Again, cryptic and could vaguely mean a couple of things. Maybe it was a show of disagreement with Shiloh's decision to sign with an agent. After all, that takes a piece of the pie away from the athlete and can be detrimental to relationships with certain franchises. Or, that reaction was an alternative to a sigh of relief, of sorts. Deion Sanders representing their two sons indeed wasn't working out too well. Shedeur slid from a projected first-rounder to the 5th round, and Shiloh didn't have a conspicuous landing spot either. Well, things did work out after all. Not how Sanders envisioned it, nor through the ideal pathway under any circumstances. But Shedeur and Shiloh Sanders are indeed professional football players now, at least for the time being. That has got to be a special feeling for maybe their biggest fan, and certainly their very first one in Pilar. The animosity and negativity that enveloped the process are in the past now. So are Shiloh's antics on Twitch. He, more than most, needs to get down to work when he lands in Tampa Bay to rep the Buccaneers. As for Shedeur, he didn't have much wiggle room with the Cleveland Browns either. Power play or visionary move? Jimmy Haslam's bold gamble on Shedeur Sanders sparks Browns QB drama. NFL draft season is never short on drama, but few stories this year have matched the twists, silence, and surprises surrounding the Cleveland Browns selection of Shedeur Sanders. What started as a routine quarterback selection turned into a full-blown organizational power play, one that could shape the franchise's future or expose deep cracks within its leadership. The Browns kicked off their quarterback plans by selecting Dillon Gabriel from Oklahoma in the third round of the 2025 NFL Draft. At that point, most analysts assumed the team was done targeting QBs. Shedeur Sanders, still on the board, was considered a fringe day 2 talent by some, but had slipped amid concerns over fit and team needs. So when Cleveland traded up in the 5th round to take Sanders at number 144 overall, it sent shockwaves through the NFL community. 2 quarterbacks in one draft? That's rare. But what happened after the pick was even stranger. Rather than celebrating the arrival of a quarterback with serious star potential, boasting a strong college resume and media presence, head coach Kevin Stefanski and GM Andrew Berry appeared stone-faced and distant. There were no high fives, no smiles, no sense of satisfaction. The reaction was so subdued that insiders immediately sensed something wasn't right. It didn't take long for reports to surface pointing the finger at the very top: team owner Jimmy Haslam. According to multiple sources, including NFL insider Benjamin Albright, Haslam was the driving force behind drafting Sanders, reportedly overriding a front office that had already settled on Gabriel and was content with its veteran depth. There was definitely a split in the room, said Albright. Some in the front office were high on other options. But when ownership speaks, decisions tend to follow. It's not the first time Haslam has taken an active role in football decisions, but this instance was particularly striking. Not only did the Browns already have Gabriel, but they'd also brought in veteran QBs during the offseason. Adding Sanders, without full alignment between ownership and football operations, suggests more than just a talent grab. It points to internal discord. For Shedeur Sanders, the spotlight now shines even brighter. Already a polarizing figure due to his high-profile college career and being the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, he enters an unusually crowded quarterback room and a franchise feeling the pressure of years of quarterback turnover and underachievement. What's more, the way this pick went down could have long-term implications. Will Stefanski and Berry buy in and develop Sanders properly? Or will tension between ownership and the front office limit his growth? Either way, the team's handling of this decision could reverberate throughout the locker room. Cleveland's quarterback room is now one of the most watched in the league, featuring 2 rookie draft picks and established veterans. The battle for the starting job, or even a roster spot, will be intense. And if Sanders doesn't see the field quickly, questions will arise about the value and intention of the pick. In the end, this is Jimmy Haslam's move. He saw something in Sanders he couldn't let slip away, even if it meant risking alignment within the organization. Now, the question is simple. Was it a bold vision for the future, or a gamble driven by ego? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: Cleveland's quarterback drama has just begun.